Hey Hoopheads, Brad here with another breakdown, and before I get started, I just want to mention that I'm going to start covering Raptors playoff wins from last season, as well as some high-profile non-Raptors matchups from this season, and the Patreon launch for March 20th is still on. In this game, the Raptors were led by Kawhi Leonard's playoff career-high 45 points. Pascal Siakam had 29 himself on 12 of 15 shooting. No other Raptors scored in double figures, oddly enough, but they played some great defense, holding Embiid to 5 for 18 from the floor. Butler was 4 for 12. Harris was 6 for 17. Let's get into it. Marc Gasol was basically designed in a lab to guard Joel Embiid. Here, the Sixers have JJ Redick run off the double screen. This forces Gasol to shade over towards him because he's such a great shooter. And that lets Embiid get into the post against Gasol. But Gasol's able to prevent himself from getting back down, and he has the nice hands able to poke the ball away. And now Embiid tries to face up and go at him again, but as he turns his back to go into the post, Gasol just doesn't back down. He has to get rid of it, and then you see Gasol helping on Redick again as Embiid sets a screen. And now Embiid's going to dive to the basket, but check out Kawhi shading way off Jimmy Butler in the corner. As Embiid goes to the rim, he doesn't see Butler, and Kawhi's able to bother that shot. And on this one, watch Embiid and Gasol fighting for post position. It's really a battle, and Gasol has the agility to get around and front him a little bit. Eventually, he catches it on the low block, and here Embiid can usually lean into a guy and move him backwards, but Gasol has the ability to just absorb that hit. Embiid ends up getting a shot moving away from the rim, and that will be a theme of this game and this series, really. Here, Redick sets a screen to try to get Embiid open, but Serge does a nice job of getting over it. The pass isn't there, so they're going to go to the other side and try to post up Embiid on the other side of the paint. Serge getting as physical with him as he can, but you can see how much Embiid is able to move Serge as he backs down. Embiid tries to turn and put up the shot, but a great contest from Serge with his length there. Embiid gets his own offensive rebound and then tries to go up for the foul, but Lowry backs off from the contact, does a great job of avoiding the foul, and the Raptors have their stop. On this one, the Raptors end up switching the screen, and then it's Green defending Embiid. The Raptors run a double team at him, and Embiid's still able to score, but you can see how the shot is moving away from the basket again, even though he's against a smaller defender. The Raptors doing a good job to meet him with force. And in addition to the great defense on Embiid, the other thing that impressed me in this game was the intensity with which the Raptors closed out to the Sixers shooters. This was especially true for Lowry, who you could regularly see helping all the way into the paint and then getting out to the three-point line and contesting the shot even though he's an undersized player. And of course, when JJ Redick's on the other team, those shot contests don't always make the person miss, but if you can make it difficult and decrease that percentage a little bit, you give yourself a better chance at winning. Here with Butler as the primary ball handler, he's more of a threat to get to the basket than to shoot the three, so you see Gasol in drop coverage. He's just trying to contain Butler until Green can get back into the play, and then you see Kawhi stunt towards Butler like he's going to come trap him, and then retreat back to the corner, and at the same time Ennis cuts along the baseline, a little miscommunication, and Butler throws it right to Kawhi. And now Butler is going to reject the Embiid screen and drive to the right, and check out the way Kawhi rotates over off of Simmons, and that's enough to cause Butler to turn away from the lane and shoot this tough turnaround jumper. Siakam does pretty well to contest it. Nice team defense, and then the Raptors track down the board and take it down to the other end where Lowry finds Siakam for the alley-oop. A beautiful play getting out in transition off the miss. And now in transition, Serge finds himself on Simmons. You see him dropping way off, and that means Siakam is on Embiid. A bit of a size mismatch, but Siakam does a nice job of getting physical with him and using his sort of frenetic speed to rush Embiid. Embiid ends up getting another shot moving away from the basket as the quarter expires. And now as Embiid gets the ball at the top of the key, check out Lowry on Butler, very undersized, but using his strength and physicality, he gets around and fronts Butler to prevent the entry pass, and the Sixers have to go elsewhere. Shot clock starting to run low on the Sixers. You see Redick is the only shooter on this side of the floor. That means Kawhi and Van Vliet can just worry about him. Serge is dropped down to protect against the drive, and as Simmons goes to the basket, Serge with a nice challenge, a little bit out of control. Watch here as Tobias Harris sets the screen under the basket to get JJ Redick open. Fred VanVleet is going to get hung up on the screen for a second, so Green completely leaves Tobias Harris and rushes out to help on Redick. That shuts down that shot opportunity, and now Harris is obviously open in the corner, so the Sixers are going to try to get it there. You see Kawhi gets around Simmons to run Harris off the three-point line, and by the time Harris starts to get into the lane, Green has already rotated down to shut off that drive. Harris throws a pump fake and takes the shot. Green jumps, but jumps straight up so he doesn't give the foul. Nice defense by him. And now as Boban comes over to set the screen, watch Gasol start to go to his left. Butler reads it and starts to drive to his left, and then Gasol instantly changes direction and shuts off that drive. And now it's Butler one-on-one against Green. Green does a nice job with his post defense here, gets his hand up for a nice shot contest in the lane. And now as Marjanovic sets the screen for Butler, you see Gasol drop back a little bit, willing to give up that three-pointer. Siakam works his way back into the play. Butler has to pass it out, and then the Sixers are going to give it to Marjanovic in the post. And then as Korkmaz cuts up, you can see Marjanovic doesn't have an eye on Lowry, and he's going to sneak in there from behind and poke the ball away. Butler tries to recover it, but he's a little bit out of control and steps on the out-of-bounds line. Good work by Lowry to disrupt that play. And now this is just an insane sequence from Lowry. You see him chase Ennis out to the three-point line, and then as the pass goes to Redick, he's a little bit closer there just to let Fred VanVleet get back into the play. And now as the Sixers run a little two-man game, you see Lowry helping into the paint to cut off the Marjanovic drive. Then he recovers all the way back out to James Ennis to challenge this shot. The Sixers track down the offensive rebound, and you can see Lowry get back into the play, guarding Butler now. And as he goes into the paint, he's going to try to take a charge on Harris. He doesn't get the call, bit of a flop to be honest. The Sixers are able to track down the rebound again, and you see Lowry closing out to James Ennis, under control this time, stays in front of him. He attacks the ball, and Ennis is going to drive to the right, but Lowry is instantly able to start moving backwards again, stays with him on the drive, and pokes the ball out of bounds off James Ennis. Incredible sequence from Lowry. Now in the backcourt, Lowry pressuring up on Harris, being a professional pest. Harris gets an arm up around Lowry's head, and Lowry makes sure the ref sees it. That's going to be an offensive foul. And now as the ball goes over to Embiid in the post, you can see Lowry sliding down into help position. And then at the same time, his man is going to fake like he's going over to set a screen on Danny Green and then bolt toward the basket. But Siakam does a great job to shut off that pass. However, that does leave Jonah Bolden open on the elbow. Siakam gets out to run him off the three-point line, and then in the lane is Lowry to take the charge. Here you see Embiid come up to set the screen for Simmons. Simmons not a great shooter, so Siakam can just go right under it to cut off this drive. Great footwork by him to shut it down. And then the ball goes out to Embiid, and he starts to go to work against Gasol, but Gasol is just laying off him, trying to tempt him into that three-point attempt. With the shot clock running down, it works. That's going to be a brick. And now Embiid gets the ball at the three-point line again, and he's going to try to back down Gasol, but Gasol only lets him get so far before he starts putting up the resistance. Forces him into this tough turnaround hook shot from like 12 feet out. That's a tough shot. And here the Sixers are going to work the ball to Embiid on the perimeter again. This time Gasol doesn't even let him catch the ball. Bats it out of bounds. Only 5 seconds left on the shot clock. And then on the ensuing inbound, the ball goes to Harris at the top, and as he moves to the left elbow, Gasol just pounces on him. Hands up, vertical, blocks the shot, and the Sixers can't get off an attempt before the shot clock expires. Great defense. And then here as Butler comes over for the handoff, check out how Danny Green shades off of Harris towards the middle. Gasol shades toward the middle of the paint as Lowry gets back into position. Butler tosses it to Harris, who tries to go at Green a little bit. Nothing really comes from that. He tosses it back out to Butler, who tries to drive on Lowry, but you see Green sagging off of Harris again. The pass goes out to the open Harris, but Green is able to get out there. Harris sees the block coming and chooses to just come down with the ball. Great help defense there by Green. And now the Raptors switch this screen, so that means Lowry is on Simmons in the post, and Simmons wants to go at him. Simmons is going to start to back him down, but as he turns his head, check out how Kawhi uses that opportunity to come down with the quick double team. That makes Simmons panic a little bit, and Lowry is able to get the strip as he turns into the lane. Great work by Kawhi and Lowry to combine for that steal. And now Embiid gets the ball on the perimeter again and tries to drive on Gasol, but Gasol with a great job moving his feet and avoiding the foul as Embiid spins into the lane. And now with more bench players on the floor, Gasol comes out to trap Butler and get the ball out of his hands. As soon as he picks up his dribble, Gasol starts retreating back to his man. Then Marjanovic sets the screen for Ennis. And check this out, Gasol switches out onto Ennis to prevent the shot, and Kawhi switches onto Marjanovic, and then they switch back immediately as soon as Ennis gets rid of the ball. The pass goes out to Korkmaz, and Fred doesn't just run him off the line, but he also gets a hand in there and strips the ball, goes out of bounds off Korkmaz. That's going to be a turnover. And then this is just an incredible play in transition from Kawhi Leonard to block the shot. Note how he blocks it with his left hand instead of reaching across his body with the right. The stop lets the Raptors get out in transition where Siakam glides to the rim for a huge dunk. And now Siakam showing off his D as he gets over the Embiid screen and then completely smothers Tobias Harris. Can't even get a shot off. The Sixers offense completely grinds to a halt, and they wind up getting a contested Jimmy Butler pull-up with the shot clock running down. And here as JJ Redick comes up for the handoff, you see Siakam step out to him to prevent the three-point shot. Great defensive aggression, and then the ball goes to Embiid, who gets Serge with the pump fake, but Fred VanVleet is waiting for him in the lane. Embiid can tell it's going to be a charge if he plows into him, so he takes this tough Euro step kind of fadeaway shot. And now Siakam giving Ben Simmons a bit of a tough time with the dribble. And then as Butler gets the handoff from Embiid, you see Lowry sliding under the screen, not worried about preventing the three. And then as Butler tries to drive on him, Lowry with just the incredible hands to rip the ball away. He gets the steal, and that's going to let the Raptors get out in transition, where Fred VanVleet finds Serge for the alley-oop. The Raptors again creating offense off their turnovers. And then in the fourth quarter, you can see Embiid settling for long jumpers. He faces up on Serge and then tries to just go for the foul instead of trying to attack and get to the rim. Serge avoids the foul, and it's another miss. And this time when he does get the ball in the post and try to attack, Lowry comes down with a double and makes him give up the ball. Norm does a nice job to run Harris off the three-point line, and the Raptors concede the mid-range pull-up. And then as Simmons tries to attack in transition, you can see the Raptors do a good job of getting back. See Kawhi look over his shoulder to check who's behind him. It's Tobias Harris streaking towards the rim, and Kawhi just gets a hand up into that passing lane. Good fundamentals, active hands in the passing lanes. It gets called out off Philadelphia. That's going to be a turnover. And then here the Sixers set the screen up nice and high so that Butler and Simmons can both run to the basket, and watch how Lowry and Kawhi handle it. Kawhi slides over to cut off Butler's drive, and as the pass goes to Simmons, Lowry rotates to him to shut him off. Meanwhile, Kawhi avoids overcommitting, and that allows him to get back to Butler and change this shot. Great work by Lowry and Kawhi to shut that down. And now as Bolden sets the screen, you can see Serge with kind of a soft trap on Butler. Lowry pressuring up, Butler gets rid of the ball. And then as Bolden starts to drive, Serge is going to get picked off by Redick, but check out Kawhi on the weak side. He's going to rotate over to help, which will leave Tobias Harris open, but Serge gets back into the play and gets up for the monster block. The shot clock expires, and that's a turnover. Great defense by Serge there. Great help from Kawhi. And now Kawhi with some pretty nice ball denial on JJ Redick. The ball goes over to Tobias Harris in the post with Norman Powell on him. Hits him with the pump fake, but as he goes up for the shot, Serge is there to swat it once again. A huge block, hits him with the thumbs down. That's going to be the ball game. The Raptors go on to win this one 108-95. And you can see how good their defense is and how much they were able to exploit the Sixers' relative lack of shooting. And that will be a big part of why they won this series. Don't forget about the Patreon launching March 20th. Stay safe out there, and thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button and let me know what you thought of the Raptors defense in the comments.